If I wanted to get a $75,000 remote sales job in 2025, this is everything I would do right now. In this video, I'm gonna be revealing the 5-level pyramid to landing a high-paying remote sales job. You have to go in order because each level builds on the previous one, and it gets smaller as we go up because it gets more challenging, and there are only a few people who can actually get to the top. So I hope you're ready to take your career to the next level, and with that being said, let's get started right away. Coming in at level 1 is learning sales fundamentals, but this is where many people make a huge mistake. They fall into YouTube hell. This is what happens when you spend all of your time watching motivational sales videos, thinking you're learning, but you're not actually learning anything or taking any action. If all you do is watch motivational, productive TED Talks, but you don't do anything differently, you haven't learned anything, especially sales. It's not like traditional subjects or memorization-based fields like biology, where you're mainly memorizing vocabulary terms. You actually have to practice real sales conversations and understand the sales process. And you do that by following the structured learning framework. Here's how it goes. First, start by learning the sales fundamentals: prospecting, qualifying, objection handling, and closing. Consider even taking it a step further and breaking down prospecting into the specific process you'll follow as if you were doing a sequence of actions, like getting their contact information, sending your first email, making the call, and sending a DM. Then we can start learning how to identify ideal customer profiles, build buyer personas, and create compelling value propositions. For beginners, I recommend you focus on the specific role of sales development rep or business development rep. That is the entry-level point into tech sales, and I believe it's the single best remote sales role you can land without experience. And it pays the most. That's the role I personally chose to start out with, and I'm so glad I did. Next, you can dive into free courses like HubSpot Academy and Salesforce Trailhead to supplement your knowledge. These free resources will help you understand CRM systems and sales methodologies that every tech company uses. While learning the basics of tech sales, start doing mock sales calls to put your knowledge into practice. The way I personally learned tech sales was by going through an online course. It laid out everything I needed to learn in the correct order and was taught so well, so it made this level so much faster and easier. The course I took was called the Course Careers Tech Sales Course. I highly recommend you take a look if you're serious about learning tech sales. It was one of the best investments I ever made, and they even have a free course you can take. I'll include the link down below, but do me a favor and wait to click on it until after this video is over. Lastly, you need to put what you do into action. You could practice cold calling scripts or role-playing discovery calls with friends. These small projects will help you understand how to actually apply concepts you learn, and you will not be stuck in YouTube hell. So once you're comfortable with the basics of tech sales fundamentals, it's time to go from level 1 to level 2. And this is where you'll work on actual projects and get experience. Doing projects are your work experience before you get a job. This is how you solve the catch-22 of needing a job to get experience, but needing experience to get a job. Get real experience doing projects to showcase that you have the skills to do the job. So here are 3 project ideas at various levels of difficulty. First, a great beginner project is a personal networking campaign where you can reach out to 50 sales professionals on LinkedIn. You can do this by crafting personalized messages, asking about their career journey and industry insights. To do it even better, use a CRM system like HubSpot's free version to track your conversations. You might even be able to turn these connections into mentors or referral sources for jobs. A level above this, for a little bit of a challenge, try building a prospecting list for a real company. This project introduces you to market research, customer profiles, buyer personas, and sales databases. Consider adding a presentation showing your findings and recommended approach. Because this is a pretty impactful project, depending on how you frame it in interviews, this could become a pretty big deal. The company you do it for might even want to hire you if you did a good enough job. For a step above this, an advanced level project, consider creating a complete sales strategy for a startup or small business. Start simple by researching their competitors and identifying their unique value proposition. Once you've mastered the basics, you can create buyer personas, sales scripts, and objecting handling guides. This project will give you the right amount of hands-on experience in overarching sales processes, which hiring managers will love to see. But overall, what's more important than the specific project is the skills you're developing and the impact you're having. For example, if person 1 does basic cold calling practice and person 2 does a comprehensive market analysis that helps a real business identify new opportunities, the second person is far more impressive because it was more impactful. You need to be able to explain the why behind your project and how you learn skills that will help the company. You have your background set. Now we're going to kick it a further notch up and transition to setting yourself up for a career in tech sales. Level 3 is your resume. And no, I'm not just going to tell you to create a random one-page resume. I'm going to be sharing the exact resume that landed me my BDR job and led to 2 promotions in just 1 year. Let's dive in. Starting with the header, your name should be bold and centered for easy recognition. Add your email so you're easy to contact, LinkedIn to allow people to learn more and connect, and your city for location verification. Next is your education section, and here's where you need to be strategic. Include what you learned in step 1. Highlight your course career certification if you have it and any relevant coursework. Be sure to emphasize business relevant skills even from unrelated degrees. For example, I have a bachelor's in communication and an MBA, so I emphasize the business strategy and relationship management aspects that transfer to sales. But don't worry if you don't have a degree. Companies don't really care that much. My certification from Course Careers was much more valuable than even my MBA for landing a job. Going down to the experience section, here is where you need to be sure to use what I call the impact format. This is similar to what Google recommends. For each bullet point, you want to say something along the lines of accomplish X through Y, resulting in Z impact. Be sure to split what you did on a day-to-day basis from your accomplishments so your employees can clearly see what you did and what it resulted in. Try to quantify your achievements so employers can see your impact, even from non-sales roles. Tailor your past experience to a job in tech sales. For example, my experience working as a supply chain manager and achieved cost savings through negotiation. Numbers are essential because they quantify the impact and draw eyeballs to your resume. Just to be sure not to lie, I've heard stories of employers finding out in reference check that the number wasn't true. 2 big mistakes I see a lot of people make is either they will just list out their past jobs without any elaboration. Cool, you were a manager somewhere, but no one knows what impact you had, so who cares? Second mistake is sometimes people will just list out responsibilities without any explanation of results. That's why the impact part of the format is super important, because employers don't really care that you did the task. They really want to know what you accomplished. Next section is projects. I did networking outreach and prospecting projects. I listed specific metrics like the number of contacts made and response rates along with the tools used because once again, numbers are important. A big mistake I see people make is just list projects without context. Did you just do basic prospecting or did you develop a comprehensive lead generation system that identified 200 plus qualified prospects? Employers want to know the extent of which you did it. Then comes the skills section. This is the only part of your resume where it's okay to just list things without full detailed sentences. It's important to know all of the skills that employers are listing, so make sure if they weren't listed above to have them listed here. Salesforce, HubSpot, ZoomInfo, Apollo, Cadence, cold emailing, outreach. Most people know employers use automated AI tools to scan resumes for specific keywords. So this step is a necessity to make sure your resume is the one the AI tells a recruiter to look at. Avoid unnecessary qualifiers like HubSpot beginner or Salesforce intermediate, because if you put like, oh, I'm a beginner in this, it almost gives the idea that you don't know much. I fundamentally believe that if you put a skill on your resume, you should be at least intermediate in it. So you don't need to be a full-on expert, but you should be good enough to use it effectively in the role. So now you have your experiences, you have your resume. Coming in at level 4, now we need to actually get you a job. And for that, we have applications and outreach. Obviously, you know how to apply to jobs. I'm not going to teach you how to do that. You go to LinkedIn, Indeed, company websites, pretty much apply anywhere and everywhere. But the hard part is once you actually apply, how do you get a call back? Because you're applying in a sea, I mean an ocean of hundreds of thousands of candidates. I've also talked with the recruiter and they told me the reason it's so hard to get a call back is because AI is actually auto-applying to jobs for people. So it's not uncommon for employers to get hundreds of applicants within 2 hours of posting a job. The way AI auto-applying works is people use tools to blast their resume to dozens of companies without any personalization. So how do you beat it? You need to get directly in front of the people in charge of hiring. The best part about this strategy that almost no one does, which makes this strategy for standing out that much more effective. And when it comes to outreach, there are also 3 levels to getting in front of hiring managers and recruiters. Not all are made equal, so let's go one by one. First, we got level 1. This is when you message the recruiter on LinkedIn. This is what everyone knows about. You simply look at the job and find the recruiter on LinkedIn and you message them, letting them know that you're interested. You might get an interview, but this is so low effort and nowadays it's too easy, so it's a little too common for them to take you seriously. So try out level 2. If you've ever gone to a car dealership and test drove a car, you probably experienced this, and the reason they do it because it works. I call this turning your job search into a sales job. This is when you find both the recruiter and the hiring manager. You then aggressively reach out to them, pitching yourself on why you're the best candidate for the job and want to meet with them. You find their email, send them a personalized pitch over it, LinkedIn message them, and even follow up if they don't reply. On to level 3, and when it comes to outreach, this is the most powerful one. This, if done right, you'll almost be guaranteed to get the interviews. I watched a video of someone who followed the strategy, and they were a janitor with no college degree and no experience applying for high-paying tech jobs, and they said they applied to 12 companies and got 12 interviews. Think about that. This stuff is powerful. You'll probably never have to worry about landing a job again if you do this. This is where you reach out to everyone at the company, not just the recruiter or hiring manager, both of them. And the hiring manager's boss, maybe the director or even vice president of the company. You also reach out to someone else just working in the same role or a similar role you're applying for and try to get a meeting with them so they give you an internal referral to the hiring manager. This is exactly what I did. I applied online and also networked on LinkedIn. I messaged several people at my target company and one of them referred me. He even took it a step further and helped me throughout the interview process. If done right, multiple people at the company will contact the hiring manager, telling them about you and how they should hire you. Everyone is pointing to you as the right person. The preparation paid off for me. I got rave reviews during my interviews and landed the job in just 1 month after starting my search. So you have your background, you have your experiences, your resume is good, and you have interviews set up. Now you need to pass your interviews to land your final offer. So in this final level of the pyramid, it's all about becoming an expert interviewer by doing prep. To do this, I'm going to share so many resources that you pretty much never fail an interview again. So first, you need to start with the basics. Figure out what employers are even looking for during the interviews in the first place. To do this, you can leverage the work you did before connecting with someone currently working in the job and just ask them what the hiring manager is looking for that specific job and company. Or you can look on Reddit from the perspective of the hiring manager, seeing what they're looking for. And lastly, you can leverage resources that already figured it out, like the Course Careers Tech Sales course I took, which is how I learned what employers look for. For tech sales specifically, they're looking for your why for choosing sales, evidence of grit, motivation to make money, ability to handle rejection, communication skills, and coachability. I knew I had the grit because I had been job searching for 16 months and didn't give up. I had the motivation to make money because I needed to get out of unemployment and build financial stability. Once you know what they want, then you can put a list together of the most common questions they'll probably ask to figure out. Same process here for figuring out the question. I also leveraged the Course Careers course to provide this. Common tech sales interview questions include why sales, why the company, tell me about a time you overcame a challenge, how do you handle rejection, and role play scenarios. For my why sales answer, I explained that I had previous sales experience as a relationship banker right after college, plus customer service experience. So working in tech sales wasn't that much different. I also talked about how I love the flexibility that a job in tech sales would give me, and how if I worked hard, I could make as much money as I want. For getting good at answering the questions, I found the best way is to just practice role playing with someone like your friend or your spouse. If you can't do that, you can record yourself answering the question and play it back and see how it sounds. Put yourself in the shoes of the hiring manager when you listen to yourself. If you would for sure hire yourself, then you're probably good to go. The key is to be over-prepared for your interviews. Be confident and be yourself in the interviews. This is exactly what I did, and it worked. I also prepared specific examples and stories from my past experience that showed the traits they were looking for. For showing grit, I explained how I completely changed career paths at 34 and invested in learning new skills. The final and most advanced way you can practice is by getting a coach who works in the industry and role-playing with them. Their advice and guidance will be much more specific and valuable than just a friend can give. I know Course Careers provides these coaches to practice with and get help, but I'm sure you could find them on LinkedIn as well and just message them asking for help. You should come in having some ideas of answers you'd say. Have specific examples and stories from your past experience that demonstrate the qualities that you're looking for. Know your why for why sales and why this specific company. Show that you're gritty and motivated to make money. The preparation paid off for me. I work from home every day with flexible hours and unlimited PTO. My life improved drastically. I'm a lot happier and have a lot more free time since I don't have to worry about commuting. I'm also on track to make the most money I've ever made. There's no reason you can't follow this blueprint to find the same success. Well, I really hope you guys enjoyed this video, and if you did, make sure you hit that like button and subscribe if you haven't already. And if you want to learn more about my specific story breaking into tech sales, going from unemployed for 16 months to landing my first remote tech sales job with the flexibility to work from anywhere, make sure you watch the next video.